Yo, what's up, y'all? It's the MMA Analyst coming at you for the UFC 98 review, the recap. To be honest, man, this was a tough one for me because like everybody I wanted to win, and then even though sometimes people who I wanted to win weren't the people I picked, like it was just for me not good. But for a lot of people, had to be good. So let's get right down to it. Starting from the top, Rashad Evans versus Lyoto Machida. I'm gonna call this whole night bad game plans and bad habits. If Rashad Evans and Greg Jackson's idea of how to beat Machida was to counterpunch, then that was a bad plan. Like, honestly, Rashad Evans, his counterpunch is going to come with a hook. And Machida, he's able to kick, both legs all over long, jabs and karate punches that reach and extend. And Rashad Evans, his thing was like, the same thing with the Chuck knockout. That's his counter. Now, for him to think that he was going to counter for a win, and I know he's a counter fighter, so that's cool and all, but it was just out of control. Basically, Machida went out there and did his damn thing. Two things I was very impressed with was the audience, the crowd. They didn't boo. There was like 3 or 4 minutes of almost inactivity, it seemed, in the first round. And it's like the audience was kind of like, ooh, I can't wait to see what happens. And normally it just takes 15 seconds of them to be like looking at each other, like, what are you going to do? And the audience like, boo. And these guys were like, what's going to happen next? So, that was a pleasant surprise. The audience wasn't completely retarded. So that's the first thing I was very surprised by. And second thing I was surprised and impressed with was, we already knew, but like Machida's very, very, very accurate with his punches, with the strikes. Like even when he was flurrying and Rashad was getting blasted, like everyone was hitting him. I guess that means I'm impressed with three things. Rashad can take a punch. Either Lyoto Machida is all about like knocking you out from like accumulating, even though he was teeing off on his face and it couldn't have lasted much longer. Like he literally got hit one time with his mouth wide open. I don't know if like I'm kind of rambling, but there's a lot of different things that went through my mind, like muscle memory, for example. When Fedor gets jawed, just jacked by Fajita, his muscle memory tells him to reach out and try and hold on. Bam! His legs are dead, and he just let me just hold on to you and let me try and take you down. That's muscle memory. Nogueira, his muscle memory tells him, let me get that underhook and hide my head as far as I can under you, and let me get guard, and let me like this is things that happen when people are straight knocked out. Tim Sylvia, when he was basically out for 4 rounds against Randy Couture, and when he got jacked, he was same thing. Like, let me just grab a hold on to something, let me do something. And muscle memory showed up tonight a few times. It showed up with Rashad. It looked like dude was trying to talk. You know what I mean? Like, his muscle memory was like to talk junk in the middle of getting his ass whooped because his hands weren't up and his mouth was wide open, and it looked like he was trying to be like, crack, and then got jacked, and then his mouth kept opening like he was trying to say something. And I was like, is Rashad trying to talk in the middle of this ass whooping that's happening? His hands weren't coming up. He wasn't doing nothing. He was turning his back. Like muscle memory, y'all. You train for a long time, and you train and you train. And then eventually one day, you get busted up so bad. that your mind isn't there, but it like still works, and you do what it's been trained to do, and like you got to learn so that when that happens, you put your hands up, or you know, like you do something, like you reach out for something, but you can't just turn, get jacked, turn, punched up, hands at your waist, mouth wide open. If that's what your muscle memory has been programmed to do, then you're setting yourself up for what happened at night. Lyoto Machida handled his business. Rashad Evans, he got handled. I mean, I wanted Rashad Evans to win. I thought he would come up like game plans against Lyoto Machida are obviously not easy. Not for anybody. Who do we see next for Rashad Evans? I would like to see Rashad Evans fight. Like, really what I wanted to see was Shogun fight the loser of this battle. And like it's Rashad Evans, so I would like to see that fight. Lyoto Machida, what's next for him? If he fights Rampage, like Rampage got a chin like hell. He got a jaw, he got a big ass head. But like I think he'll get picked apart. I really do. We all know that the big difference between Rashad and Rampage is Rampage got massive power in his hands. He can clip you on the tip of the chin and knock you out. But I think he's slower than Rashad. And even though Rashad wasn't showing like a wide variety of whatever, he's become like more of a one-dimensional fighter, Rampage has. So I think Rampage will get picked apart. I hope, he isn't that fighter, but, we'll see. Machida is a tough guy, man, to, like, up until this fight, I was like, Machida is good, but how good is he? And we know he's a tough fight for anybody, but how tough a fight? And it's very clear that he might be, like, the toughest fight for anybody. So props to Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, kept it classy in the end, even though you lost. But, they all do, but you had a nice little speech. Both y'all keep going on. Matt Serra versus Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes should retire. I know I didn't say it before, but like before I was saying there's only a few guys better than him in his division, and I agree, but he's just getting kind of old. He won the fight. Congratulations. I did predict a decision in this fight. At least I got one fight right. But it wasn't that impressive at all. He's always been the one-trick pony. He did recover from, it was a headbutt, I guess. An accidental headbutt right to the jaw, and then that patented Serra hook that always hits people behind the ear, which is weird. He recovered from that. Serra just couldn't get it done off of his back. Third round, Serra won. First round, it's kind of weird because you definitely wouldn't be crazy if you gave that round to Serra. I mean, he almost had Hughes beat. He almost finished the fight in the first round. Like, Serra was dropped. He was getting hit all over the place. And then he used the cage to gain some of his memory and mind back. Not his memory because he didn't know what happened. And then he brought it down with maybe a minute and a half left and, tried to do a little bit of ground and pound. So Serra could have won round one. Definitely round three. That's a tough decision right there. I wouldn't say anybody got robbed, but I would say that it was tough. It's a tough decision for sure. Serra, like I said before, Serra's got jiu-jitsu. He's got school. I think he might have more than one school, but he's definitely got one school doing well. He doesn't need mixed martial arts to make money. He really wanted this win. I could tell after the fight he didn't even want to talk. Like, I'd be the same way if I was him. If I really wanted to beat someone's ass and then like went out there and almost beat their ass, like that would have been an absolute like smash if he just went out there and beat him like in the first round and finished the fight. So to almost be there and then to go all the way to the decision and then lose a decision that maybe you should have won, I'd have been pissed. Matt Serra wanted to cry. And, like, it's all right if he did, you know what I mean? Because he should be, he's probably busted up inside. He just wants to go home, and just do his thing. But, I mean, it was at least an entertaining fight. Both those fights are somewhat entertaining. Drew McFedries versus Professor X. Again, we'll talk about bad game plans and muscle memory. Xavier comes out knowing that the guy he's fighting is only good at one thing, and that's this. Maybe this, but definitely this. And then bounces off the cage and comes out with his hands down? He didn't come out like this. He didn't come out like this. He came out like he wasn't getting headhunted. I don't understand that at all. And then when he did get jacked, his game plan, like his muscle memory was and then finally at the end, he tried to like grab onto like a leg and he was out. Definitely not an early stoppage. He was out. But you know, McFredries, if they put him in the cage with somebody who's gonna only strike with them and somebody that's gonna not put their hands up, McFredries will be invincible. You know what I mean? If you ever put McFredries out there with a guy that's gonna walk up like this, McFredries will never lose ever. That dude is the greatest. If some bounce off the cage and come out like this, hands below your shoulders, I didn't get that at all. That was just retarded. It was a good knockout or TKO. I don't know, man. Dan Miller versus Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen, man, he got submitted out of the UFC twice already, and I thought he was going to get subbed out of the UFC again when that first round happened. But dude's arms must have been burning. He did not get the guillotine. Second round, same thing. Couldn't get that guillotine. And other than those two guillotine attempts, it was Sonnen just all over dude all day. 3 rounds, same thing over and over again. Not a very exciting fight at all. Dude didn't even need to pass the guard. He was like, I'm just going to sit in your guard and punch you and not worry about anything. So, Sonnen not too impressive at all in his win. Anybody that strikes would, it looked like they probably would take his head off in the early parts of any fight. Dan Miller is a tough dude. I mean, tough dude with tough skin because he got hit a lot and nothing opened up. Barely any swelling. Barely any welting. That dude, seriously, he took a pretty good beating, I'd say, in the first round, and he might have had a little puffiness. But if you didn't know he was in a fight, you think maybe, he was allergic to something and there's a little readiness in his face. But tough guy, somewhat young, so, they'll both be back, obviously. Let's go back to bad game plans. And by the way, that's a bad game plan for Dan Miller if he wants to sit off his back and not do any sweeps. He had many times where he could have tried butterfly sweep, where the arms were completely outstretched, no base on either side except for the legs. You block out one leg. I don't understand. I'm a gi guy myself. I use the gi. But it seems like, you know what I mean, if I got one leg blocked off, one arm blocked off on the same side, I should be able to sweep you. I should be able to. And if I'm not able to, I'm going to find out I'm not able to because I tried. At least tried. He didn't even try. He was just like, I'm going to try and, I don't know what the game plan was. Every now and then go for a knee bar against a guy who's based out. Like, I don't know, man. Not good. And like I said, bad game plans. Frank Edgar or Sean Shirk. Sean Shirk, you are the bigger, stronger, better wrestler. Why are you out there trying to box? With your Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. You don't knock people out. What are you doing? I don't get it. It's like, yeah, BJ Penn, you don't want to go to the ground with him. I understand. You know what I mean? He can tap you. And, he's good. So you try to box. And then you get boxed up and you get kneed and you get knocked out. Okay, fine. Then you come out and you box against another dude, Tyson Griffin. Now, against that guy, you are the better wrestler. You are bigger. You are stronger. But on the feet, you probably can beat him. So you try for the first round. You see it's working and you continue. Fine. No arguing there. But then you come to this fight and then you say, wait a sec, Frankie Edgar is putting an ass whooping on me. And even though the fight, in my opinion, was horrible, it was still the kind of thing where Frankie Edgar didn't have anything to worry about. He could just pop, 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 just do whatever he wanted, in and out. Didn't have to worry because the punches were coming by like way over here off the damn screen. And after one round of seeing what was happening, even like after a half a round, if you see a half round in, you keep trying something and this guy's getting the better of it every time. If you don't fix it in the second half of that round, you should fix it at the beginning of the next round. And if somehow you don't fix it by that round, try the next round, but by then you could be too tired from doing all your stupid stuff, and that's what happened. I don't understand what Sean Shirk is thinking. He wasn't thinking about a title shot. He wasn't thinking about winning, and he wasn't thinking about losing either. Because sometimes you don't need to think, I got to get the win. It's like, I can't lose this. Like, that's horrible. Frankie Edgar, congratulations, handled your business. You know what I mean? He'll be back, though. All these guys will be... No, let me say that again. Xavier will not be back. Sarah will not be back. Hughes will be back if he chooses to. That's that. Now, we saw the undercard. We saw Brock Larson against Mike Pyle. That was definitely a late replacement. I don't know when Mike Pyle came into the situation. I don't remember him when I was doing the previews. Brock Larson did win the fight. It was a pretty easy fight too. It seemed nothing too special. Congratulations, Brock Larson. Pat Barry, damn, I didn't even think about it. Like, even if he did do the Techno Viking, it doesn't matter now. You know, I hope he didn't do it, because then now I'd be like, you know, if he didn't do it, then maybe he can do it next time and it'll mean something. But if he did it this time, then he can never do it again. You know what I mean? And that's too bad. So hopefully he didn't do it. He lost, unfortunately, and we're going to talk about bad game plans. After you done rocked the dude, handled your business, you let him jump on you. You done kicked him in his face, busted his nose all up, and then you end up on the bottom of this 265-pound dizzy-ass man. If I knock out or mess up anybody's brain and they're 40 pounds heavier than me, I know the last place I'm going to end up is under them. Then he gives up his back, and like Hag just didn't take his back. And then he gave up his neck, and Hag said, that's a gift that I can't give up. Choked him out. Well, didn't choke him out, but he choked him out of the match. And Pat Barry lost a fight that was pretty much his. It was his to take. He landed the kick. He landed the punch. And he just had to, you know, cool down, chill out. And then maybe when he got to the ground on accident, at least have an idea what to do. And dude was horrible on the ground. He gave up his back. He literally said, take my back. And Hag was like, nah, I'll wait. And then he was like, what about my neck? And he was like, I'll take it. Fine. Not a good idea. Bad game plan. I did not see Felipe Nova versus Kyle Bradley. However, if you guys saw Yves Lavigne getting booed every time it was his turn to do his job, it was because of this fight. Because supposedly he effed up real bad. Basically, referee Yves Lavigne steps in and stops it, but Nova rolls over again. Yves backs away, but then Bradley lands some more glancing blows. Nova springs right up, and there's confusion while Yves Lavigne waves his arms at 103 of the first. The fight is over, and Nova doesn't look hurt. The crowd boos rabidly. Replay shows Nova wasn't hurt. Big mess up by Yves Lavigne. So they booed his ass the rest of the night. And this brings up another situation. I want to see this fight, all right? And it's just like the fight with Aaron Riley and Home Dude. I forgot, but they're having the rematch. Let me do a quick search, man. Aaron Riley. I'm having a mind blank. Shane Nelson. Aaron Riley versus Shane Nelson. These dudes fought. This is a sport, y'all. It's a sport, okay? So it's like each fight is a game, all right? So the whole night was like the whole thing, but each fight was its individual game. So Shane Nelson versus Aaron Riley happens the first time, and referee jumps in and robs, supposedly, I think it was Aaron Riley of a chance at victory because he's basically not given a chance. You're hurt, fight's over. the UFC says, like Dana White, they all say it's basically one of the worst mess ups in the history of the UFC with refereeing, and they bury the video. They don't put it on the website. They don't put it anywhere. We can't find it. If you weren't there that night, and if you don't have it on camera, then I don't think this fight it will see the light of day until maybe the next fight, so that they can say this is what happened the first fight, and then they'll show it to you because I guess it's only like 45 seconds long. And then they'll be like, this is what happened last time. He was robbed, so now we're going to give him a rematch. That's some bullcrap to think that these guys can actually completely bury a whole fight. Like, we can't find it. So now here's another one where it looks like somebody effed up royally. Am I not able to see this one? I don't know yet, but we'll see. We'll see if the UFC releases the tape. You know what I mean? It's not like it's something bad, like a referee messed up, the UFC is going to take a big blow. Mistakes happen. Like, when there are horrible decisions in, football and tennis and all these other sports where basketball, where, like, they had to, like, where, like, big mistakes cause big plays and outcomes, the sports didn't hurt because of it. It was just like, man, that dude effed up. He sure did. And that's that. Just venting a little bit. I do not like when I can't see something because somebody else thinks that if I see it, it will be negatively on them. It'll reflect negatively on them. Like, let me see the fight, man. Let me see the game. I don't care how bad the game was. If I want to see it, let me see it. Damn it. If it was a good fight, then they would have showed me. So there can't be a division. It's either we're going to show you the fights or we're not. Not based on what happens. Anyways, Krzysztof Soszynski versus Gusmao. Krzysztof Soszynski handled his business, won the fight. Congratulations. Gusmao is probably going to be out of the UFC. Brandon Wolf lost to Yoshida. Again, I haven't seen any of these fights. In this one, actually, Yoshida tapped out Wolf twice. He tapped him first by a standing guillotine, and then he tapped him by another guillotine when he rolled over. Because Mazzagatti didn't see the standing, he didn't see him tap. Like, he straight up tapped, and then the fight was over, but it wasn't, and then he rolled him over and made him tap again. So these guys are effing up. This seems like they want to mess up. And then Dave Kaplan versus George Roop. George Roop won. On Sherdog, they have Dave Kaplan winning 2-1, but the judges saw it 30-27 for Roop twice, so that's probably interesting as well. Anyways, all in all, the night for me, forget about the outcomes. The night was not good for me. Like, I'll put it like this: main event was a good fight. All right. Entertaining, good fight, a little bit of a chess match, ended up being an ass whooping. Hughes versus Serra, good fight, but I think ruined by questionable judging. Xavier, Professor X versus Drew McFedries, I'm just not interested in guys who can only fight one way fighting somebody else who don't use their brain. Like, that's not interesting to me. So even though it was a very impressive knockout and he has power, it's kind of like I'm not interested in that, to be completely honest. Dan Miller versus Chael Sonnen, not interested in that one there. And Frank Edgar versus Sean Shirk, horrible fight and not interested in bad game plan. So the whole night for me was kind of like, when's the next one? Let's bring it on. Dream is coming up. A lot of good stuff coming up. Actually, it's all right. You can't have a good fight, a good night every time. You know what I mean? But anyways, Sunday, May 24th, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The first show, the online radio show, MMA XL Radio, with myself and Chase, aka the Phantom UFC fan. We're doing our thing. Hope you guys are there. We're gonna talk about this night of fights. We're also going to talk about the UFC video game, the goods and the bads, because there are both, and some other things. Crow Cop returning in Germany, just a few good things coming up. MMA, y'all, it's important. Peace.